One of the things that IBM did was to put into place psychological assessments for their people and other kinds of behavioral tools, so they could conduct training, so they could evaluate their people and build teams. Tom thought that made a lot of sense, so he brought that with him to Cincom. And over the years, we've used, Myers-Briggs, MBTI, DISC, Divine, HR Chally Company, and so forth. And we've used them not overly consistently, but we've used them quite a bit through the course of that period of time, really to gather information if the manager wanted it, to provide that information to the manager, but that was about it. Maybe if we had a situation where there were 2 or 3 finalists for a job, we would assess them and see how they looked on the assessment, and it would provide us with some objective information to go with the basically subjective process of hiring that we had at that time. And we said, okay, now we need to really sell this stuff. Let's go out in the marketplace and let's make a lot of money by selling this stuff because it's a better mousetrap. It has better features and functionality. It has more customization capability. It's going to be easier to use. It's going to have productivity benefits because you won't have the mistakes and the errors and the downtime, so you can eliminate labor content and all of these things. And we stayed pretty much flatlined. We just didn't seem to understand what that was about. Dick Robinson is our local representative who originally brought us profiles. And Tom was telling him that we had not yet found that tool that we wanted to use to help our sales process work better. What about profiles? I represent Profiles International. Why don't you take a look? So we began to take a look, and we were very, very impressed by that tool and by that instrument. We began using the profiles assessment. We obviously had to define with profiles our jobs and then try to map them initially to the jobs that profiles had available in their library. One of the advantages to us in the software industry, in the technology sector, is that Profiles has a pretty deep history in the technology sector. So a lot of their roles are not just like a generic sales role. It's more specific to the kind of complex selling and long sales engagement cycles that we deal with. So we were able to take some of their stock off-the-shelf profiles and begin mapping our current people against those roles to see how they looked. So the partnership is really, and was really panned out for us, I think, working with Profiles, is that they're clearly focused on our needs as a servant seller, helping us with our buying cycle of buying their product. And we get, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of my boss and others inside the company, much more than we pay for using this tool. We have been able to gain tremendous traction with our managers that we were not able to obtain before. We are beginning to see some data that leads to results, even though we're still not seeing the top-line revenue results that we would like. We're still a lot closer to it. We've lowered our turnover rate substantially in a couple of these groups, and the groups seem to operate better as a team and operate more successfully. There's just a whole different kind of flavor to it inside those businesses. But literally, we have access to Steve and to the other folks here at Profiles, and I don't know how extensively you're utilizing those other resources that you have here at Profiles, but there's a tremendous knowledge base here, and they're more than willing to spare that time and spend that time with you to help you do a better job of what you're trying to accomplish, because they want you to be successful too. Because you're going to spread the word to others, and they're going to get more business as a result. There's that great synergy.